After I died, I learned that I was the villain in a male-oriented harem novel. My fiancée, Sophia, is the female lead. I gave her the family heirloom emperor green ring, and she turned around and gave it to the male lead. The luxury house and car I bought her, she never let me go near them, but gave them to the male lead for free. I donated resources, spent money to support her family, even begged my parents to invest in her project, all to raise her value. In the end, I finally achieved my wish and married Sophia. But she believed I had forced her into marriage by underhanded means. On our wedding night, she held a knife to her throat. I accept your gifts and your proposal, but that doesn't mean I accept your love. I need time to adjust. I chose to respect her. But when the male lead was bitten by a snake, she didn't hesitate to use her body to detoxify him. Afterward, I went to confront the male lead, but he hit my weak spot with a dart. After I died, I awakened to the plot. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day I gave Sophia the ring. Metropolis Medical University athletics field. All the students' gazes converged in one place. Ethan, was I not clear enough? You're the kind of person who only relies on your family, using money to flaunt yourself, unworthy of my Sophia's affection. Even the luxurious imperial green can't hide your vulgarity. People nearby murmured among themselves. Sophia really is the school beauty. She doesn't even care about an imperial green ring. If she says no, she says no. No way she refused. She just put the ring on her hand. Are you blind? Could it be? If she accepted the ring, why would she refuse Mr. Johnson? A jumble of voices reached my ears. I looked at the familiar playground before me and the young, beautiful Sophia, and finally realized I had been reborn. I had been reborn on the day I gave Sophia the imperial green ring. Thinking of the tragic end in my previous life, I wanted nothing more than to kill the woman standing before me. In my past life, the first time I saw Sophia, I fell madly in love with her. I gave her resources, poured money into supporting her family, and even begged my parents to invest in her projects, all to raise her value. I bought her luxury homes and cars, yet she never let me get close to them. To win her favor, I even gave her my ancestral emperor green ring. In the end, she gave it to the male lead, allowing him to awaken the divine doctor talent. In the end, she drained all my value, leaving my family ruined. The Sophia before me was still babbling on. Ethan, I'm telling you, accepting a gift doesn't mean anything. I will not like you. If you're sensible, go call off the engagement. How blind was I in my past life? To have fallen for a piece of trash like that. Fine, I agree. I'll go call it off tomorrow, I said expressionlessly. Hearing this, Sophia froze. I actually agreed to call off the engagement. In an instant, Sophia's eyes filled with delight. You're willing to break the engagement? I nodded. If I didn't call this person off, was I supposed to let her ruin things for me again? As if I'm not into masochism. Seeing me nod, Sophia's attitude softened unusually, and the look in her eyes wasn't so hostile anymore. You've come to your senses, that's good. It's settled then. I'll be at home tomorrow waiting for you to officially break the engagement. Saying that, she turned and was about to leave. Wait, I called after her. Sophia was impatient. Ethan, what do you mean? You're not backing out, are you? I looked at the imperial green ring on her finger and pointed at it. Since we're calling off the engagement, give me back the ring. After all, it's an heirloom from my family, meant for a future daughter-in-law. Sophia looked at me in disbelief. Ethan, what do you mean? You want to take back a gift you already gave? Aren't you ashamed? You play boy. I don't blame you for not understanding social graces, but take back what you just said and apologize to me, and I'll forgive you. Does she mean she's not going to return them? The students around her were also shocked. She wants to break off the engagement, but keep the gifts? Isn't that being both a benefactor and a hypocrite? How low? Returning gifts given to a girl is disgusting. That was an imperial green ring, left by my elders for their future daughter-in-law. Since we can't get married, of course it has to be returned. Hearing the murmurs around her, Sophia's face darkened. She sneered and said pointedly, Ethan, it's just an imperial green jade ring, isn't it? You're not really going to throw away your dignity over this, are you? My tone went completely cold. Give it to me. In front of everyone, Sophia couldn't refuse and had to take the ring off. But she was reluctant to hand it to me. Something so precious. If she gives it back to me, she won't be able to bear it. If she doesn't return it to me, her reputation will definitely be ruined. For a moment, Sophia found herself in an impossible situation. At the crucial moment, a handsome-faced young man stepped forward. He glanced at the ring subtly. He sheltered Sophia behind him and said forcefully, "Gifts once given cannot be taken back." That's the rule, and it has nothing to do with the gift's value. Forcing an innocent girl like this, doesn't your conscience ache? Noah Williams. In an instant, the hatreds from my past life surged up in my chest. I had to use all my strength to restrain the urge to tear him apart. Noah is the male lead. In my previous life, because he obtained my ancestral ring, he awakened the divine healer skill and bulldozed his way forward, ultimately using my whole family as stepping stones. This life I'll see how he becomes the male lead. Without the opportunity, one handed him away for free. Noah's words drew the student's attention. His tone became increasingly self-righteous. We are a nation of etiquette. If you take back a gifted present, what becomes of thee, Jang Hudson? Ethan, you're trying to retrieve a gift out of selfish desire, which is truly wrong. It's people like you who corrupt societal morals. Hurry up and apologize to Sophia, and promise never to reclaim a gift once it's been given, and I'll persuade her to forgive you. The classmates around whispered. Noah's reasoning makes a lot of sense, but I keep feeling that something's off. I just can't pinpoint what. His way of analyzing things is so novel. My head feels tingly, like I'm about to get smarter. The protagonist aura really is powerful. Most of the students were enchanted by Noah. Only a few people kept a clear head. Seeing Noah growing more and more smug, I sneered inwardly. He wouldn't think he could achieve his goal by morally blackmailing me, would he? I immediately took out my phone and called the police. Hello, police? There's been a robbery, an imperial green ring, worth $200 million. At those words, Noah and Sophia's expressions changed. Noah lowered his voice and asked me, "Are you really going to be this merciless?" That question was somewhat amusing. They clearly wanted to hog my treasure and wouldn't give it back, and yet they still had the nerve to question me, as if it were all my fault. I gave him a cold glance, uninterested in engaging. Noah wasn't flustered either. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back and spoke to me in a condescending, charitable tone. "Go to the police right away. Say you filed a false report and promise not to try to get the ring back. Just consider me as owing you a favor." After speaking, he even tilted his chin and gestured toward me, with a look that said, "You've gotten a huge windfall." Me, wearing the blank, confused face of an elderly subway rider. This idiot, because I supposedly owe them a favor, they expect to take a grandmother emerald ring worth $200 million. Are you out of your mind? I rolled my eyes and waited quietly for the police to arrive. Metropolis Medical University is a key university. There's a police station right next to the school, only a 2-minute drive from here. After I called the police, a squad car arrived with a wail almost immediately. The lead officer came up to us. "May I ask who placed the call?" I glanced at Noah, who was pretending to be calm, then pointed at Sophia. "It was me who called. She's holding on to my ring worth $200 million and won't give it back." Imperial Jade? The lead officer had a good eye. With just one glance, he could tell that the ring in Sophia's hand was valuable. Immediately, his expression turned serious. "Excuse me, classmate, is this ring the plaintiff's?" Sophia stammered. "It's his, but he already gave it to me. It's mine." I stepped forward and explained the reason for the broken engagement. The police spoke to Sophia kindly. Such a valuable item, not to mention an engagement gift, even a dowry for marriage, can be reclaimed after a divorce. Please return the ring to the person who filed the report immediately. Seeing that Sophia could no longer cling to the ring, Noah finally lost his composure. Decided to start with the lead officer. He stepped forward with a sullen face, positioning himself in front of the policeman and with that same patronizing tone, repeated to the officer what he'd said to me. "This matter has nothing to do with you. Leave quickly. Consider me owing you a favor." Afraid the policeman wouldn't believe him, he even added an affectingly mysterious remark. "Sooner or later, you'll see how rare a favor from me is." Here we go again. He actually said the police have nothing to do with this. What kind of logic is that? This is a public security dispute. The police responded to a call and came to mediate. How could that have nothing to do with this? Could it be unrelated? Besides, this protagonist has an incredibly thick skin. They want things done but don't want to pay the price. One line of "I owe you a favor" is supposed to make up for everything. Your favors were copied and sent out in bulk, weren't they? Truly worthy of the protagonist. He wanders the world with no skill at all, relying solely on brute force the whole way. What a pity. The police were completely immune to Noah's brainwashing. He warned Noah sternly, "Young man, please do not interfere with our investigation. Your name is Sophia, right? If you refuse to return the ring, please come with us to the police station." Sophia went pale with fright, but clutched the ring tightly in her hand and refused to hand it over, looking at Noah with pleading eyes as if only this unusual man before her could make her feel safe. Noah looked at her with a pained expression, his heart breaking. "Sophia, don't worry. Leave this matter to me." Saying that, he ignored the police warnings. He strode up to me. With a solemn expression, he delivered the final word. "Mr. Johnson, right? This time I admit you won. I'll make my biggest concession. I owe you 2 favors. Whoever you want me to treat, you decide. That should be enough, right?" I was stunned by his words. Otherwise, had I really been reborn, I could have been fooled by the certainty in his tone. However, before obtaining the inheritance inside the ring, Noah's medical skills, though good, did not reach the level of an expert. Who gave him the nerve to be so confident? "You still owe me 2 favors. One is to see someone. Tell me how you could be so confident." I glanced at him coldly, turned to the police for help, and said, "I want to report him for practicing medicine without a license." "Police, this student, you're not qualified to practice medicine and therefore cannot treat people. That would be seriously irresponsible with regard to others' lives. Also, if you continue to interfere with the handling of this case, I will begin enforcing compulsory measures." Noah was stunned, wanting to speak, but not knowing what to say. He could only watch helplessly as Sophia returned the ring to me. I put the ring on my ring finger and couldn't help but sigh. The protagonist's earth-shattering fate is mine now. I want to see how he'll dominate the city without my ancestral ring. After all, he's the destined protagonist. Noah could sense it deep down. This ring is incredibly important to him. Ignoring the police still at the scene, he rushed over and tried to snatch the ring. The police, of course, wouldn't stand by and did their best to stop him. But they underestimated how important this ring was to Noah. One could say the protagonist would do anything for it. So, in front of everyone's eyes, Noah swung his fists and charged at me. The police, of course, would not stand by and do nothing. They quickly stepped in to stop it, and the outcome was, of course, without suspense. After being subdued, Noah stared blankly at his own fists. I didn't want to either. "Why do you insist on stopping me? You wouldn't know how important it is to me." However, it was too late for him to regret it. "Student, you have severe tendencies toward violence and mental problems. Come with us to give a statement." Noah could only obediently be taken away by the police. Along the way, he kept turning his head back. He looked at the ring in my hand with a resentful expression. Sophia glared at me with hatred. "Noah, if he wants that ring, he didn't do anything wrong. Me, he wrestled it away by force. And still didn't do anything wrong? Your values must be totally shattered." Your classmates also whispered among themselves. What the hell did I just see? Snatching it in front of the police. Is Noah out of his mind? Sophia is hoarding the ring and won't give it back. It must be Noah's doing. Sophia watched Noah being led into the police car with a heartache. For a moment, she was completely at a loss, so she cast her gaze toward me. "Hurry and give the ring back to Noah. I can allow you not to call off the engagement." I looked at Sophia with a half smile. Seeing the ring back on my hand, both the male and female leads panicked. The male lead lost his reason and tried to grab it. He was taken away by the police. The female lead also longed to get the ring. Unfortunately, it was useless. I won't give them the chance. Stay away from me. The police haven't left yet. Do you want to go join Noah too? Sophia glanced at me warily. Speak up. What do you want in order to give the ring to Noah? Me, get out. The ring needs to be blood bonded to its owner before the inheritance can be obtained. To avoid any complications, I secretly bit my finger. I smeared the blood onto the green ring face, and immediately a warm current surged through me as the vast inheritance memories began to merge into my body. After more than 10 minutes, the inheritance was complete. I feel like I have boundless strength. My mind holds not only medical skills, but also all kinds of inherited knowledge. No wonder, in the last life after Noah received the inheritance, he wasn't just brilliant at medicine, saving important people wherever he went and gaining connections. He also gambled on stones and appraised treasures, wealth coming effortlessly. But this tremendous opportunity is mine now. Noah had finished taking the statement and returned to the classroom. He quickly found me. Give me the ring. You can set the terms. Suddenly, he seemed to realize something and stared blankly at the ring on my hand. Why do I suddenly not feel it anymore? Noah's face went wooden, like a man who had lost his parents. This thing clearly belongs to me. Why did you take it away? The crucial opportunity had been snatched away. Noah's protagonist aura had faded considerably. He no longer looked as extraordinary as before, but rather somewhat sleazy. Do whatever you want. I'll be at the Taylor residence at 10 tomorrow morning to formally call off the engagement. Having said that, I couldn't be bothered to look at that couple again and turned to leave. The next day, the Taylor family's reception hall. I took out the marriage contract and placed it on the table, speaking bluntly. Today, Ethan, come to cancel the engagement. From now on, my marriage to Sophia has nothing to do with me. Sophia's father was startled. Mr. Johnson, why cancel the engagement? Marriage is no trivial matter. Have you had a falling out with Sophia? Mrs. Taylor chimed in beside her. Relying on my past, bootlicking behavior, the moment she opened her mouth, it was to criticize me. Sophia, I know her. Have you misunderstood her friendship with Noah again? If you ask me, men should be more magnanimous. You can't expect that just because you're dating him, he won't speak to any other women, right? Friendship? I looked at Mrs. Taylor in astonishment. Is it the kind of friendship where Sophia refused the doctors and used her body to help Noah neutralize the snake venom? If it's that kind of friendship, isn't that way too pure? So pure that not even a scrap of cloth can fit between the two of them. I suddenly felt sick at those two words. My voice turned cold. Noah was funded by you, right? Whether there's a friendship between him and Sophia, the Taylor family must know that. I spelled out directly. Mr. Taylor looked guilty and didn't dare to speak. After all, I was the one who helped the Taylor family rise to prominence. Even his position as head of the family was secured because of me. Mrs. Taylor didn't care about any of that. She looked at me with a face full of pride. Even if Sophia likes Noah, so what? If you're a man, you should compete fairly, pursue her earnestly, and win her heart, not be petty and paranoid all the time. Besides, my daughter is a scientific prodigy. Her startup is about to go public. What's wrong with having a few more promising young men around her? If you want to call off the engagement, then go ahead. After all, you're just the son of an executive. Your status doesn't match my daughter's. A scientific prodigy? Company going public? Seeing Mrs. Taylor's haughty expression, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Does she really think Sophia got the company to the verge of an IPO by her own research talent? If it weren't for me pouring resources into her garbage research project and finding marketing channels for her, it would have collapsed long ago. It was me begging my parents to bring in a top research team and crafting a flagship product for her. It was about to succeed. They actually think they got this far entirely because of Sophia's ability. Without me, Sophia is nothing. She still wants the company to go public? Dream on. Watching them relish their petty triumphs, I gave up the idea of exposing them. Let them savor this dream a little longer, so when it shatters, the pain will be that much greater. I'm too lazy to argue with them anymore. Take out the marriage certificate and tear it up. Mrs. Taylor glanced at me with disdain. Without hesitation, she stacked the two marriage certificates together and tore them up forcefully. Mr. Taylor glanced at me, but did not stop it. He, like Mrs. Taylor, thought I was just the son of a Glory Group executive, unworthy of Sophia's identity as an entrepreneurial genius. Even though I had long known the character of their family, I still felt a sense of emptiness. The engagement was called off, and the Taylors no longer pretended. Mr. Johnson, since the engagement has been called off, we won't be keeping you as a guest. I looked at them in surprise. Had they forgotten something? Before I leave, shouldn't you return the betrothal gifts? I didn't expect Mr. Taylor, who had just been pleasant, to suddenly change his expression. What betrothal gifts? How would I know about that? Is he trying to renege? I didn't panic at all. I slowly took out the list of gifts from the engagement. $5 million in cash, plus the lease renewal contract for 2 floors of office space in the Glory building. Now that the engagement has been called off, shouldn't these be returned to their original owners? As for the business partners I introduced to the Taylor family, consider that I was blind. I won't nitpick with you over that. I did not annihilate the Taylor family. I can give you back the $5 million, but as for the office lease renewal, sorry. That was signed personally by me and the chairman of Glory Group. You only played the role of matchmaker. And besides, you did bring quite a few deals to the Taylor family. Rest assured, we Taylors separate gratitude from grudges. We won't treat you unfairly. All right, I'll transfer $5 million and 1 cent to you. That extra 1 cent can be your gratuity. As he spoke, he clapped his hands to call his secretary over. Transfer $5 million and 1 cent to Mr. Johnson. The Taylor family never owes anyone favors. His shameless look completely made me laugh with anger. The chairman of Glory Group is my dad. I begged him for that contract for the 2 floors of office space for a long time before he agreed. Back then, when the Taylor family's business was barely alive, it was I who secured them the large orders. And now, with a single offhand sentence, they bought off everything I had given with 1 yuan. This was no longer just being rude. It was humiliation. I looked coldly at that shameless couple. As expected, they were just like their daughter. They're all so shameless, but they won't think they can just cling to these things forever. I called my dad with a blank expression. Dad, I'm going to drive the Taylor family out of Glory Tower. Okay. My dad only said 1 word on the other end of the line, but his tone sounded quite happy. I hung up, and Mr. Taylor couldn't help laughing. Mr. Johnson, with that attitude of yours, someone who didn't know might think you're the heir apparent of Glory Group. Mrs. Taylor didn't laugh. She just gave me a disdainful look. Your father is just an ordinary executive at Glory Group. What right does he have to kick us out of the Glory building? The lease renewal was signed personally by us and the chairman. If you ask me, not even this $1 should be given to you, because you spoiled brat, aren't worth that price at all. I am the legitimate heir of Glory Group. In their eyes, I'm not even worth a single dollar. I took out my phone and posted an update on social media. I captioned it, "Engagement terminated. Glory Group and all its subsidiaries will cease all cooperation with the Taylor family. Violators do so at their own risk." After doing all that, I glanced back at Sophia in the corner. Her parents were so shameless, yet she never once came forward to stop them or said a single word. I left the Taylor residence under the contemptuous sneers and ridicule of the Taylor family. Laugh all you want. Let's see how long you can keep laughing. At that moment, a phone call came in. It was Professor Ava Clark. Mr. Johnson, did you break off the engagement with Sophia? Are we still going to continue working with her team? All projects are to be halted. Wait for my notice. Okay. After hanging up the phone, I fell into thought. Metropolis Medical University has very strong research capabilities. To help Sophia's company build a flagship product, I went to great lengths to recruit Professor Ava Clark's team. The project is already nearing its end. Success is clearly within reach. However, Sophia is destined to fail. I already have plans for how to arrange Professor Ava Clark's team. Among the legacy I obtained from the ring was a recipe called Rejuvenation Pill, which has an astonishing effect on solving skin problems. I've decided to make good use of the research team. In a last life, Noah used that formula to attract a group of upper-circle socialites' admiration. Those socialites flirted with him in various ways and used their connections to shield him. But now, he doesn't have that opportunity anymore. Soon, I arrived at the downtown residence. Looking at the sturdy security door in front of me, I couldn't help but give a self-mocking laugh. I really was pathetic. Just because Sophia said she liked living in lively places, I spent $200 million to buy her a luxury home in the city center. The house was finished, yet she wouldn't even let me through the door. I want you to respect my privacy. Besides, being together still requires keeping a certain distance. Only with distance can beauty arise, don't you think? I loved her to the bone. Although I was upset, I still agreed. But Noah only mentioned in passing that the dorm was uncomfortable. She couldn't wait to invite Noah to move in. The two of them lived together like newlyweds. They treated the apartment I bought as their love nest. Not only that, Noah met his female neighbor Emma Anderson while living here. She is the second female lead of this book. Emma was sabotaged in her youth and became paralyzed in the lower body. After Noah obtained the legacy, he helped her stand up from her wheelchair. From then on, Emma was grateful to him. It was also thanks to Emma's powerful background that he sailed through without a hitch. In my previous life, the reason my family was suppressed owed much to the backing of the second female lead, even if Emma and the Anderson family never directly acted against me. Many business partners feared the Anderson family's influence and chose to stand by with folded arms when my family fell into disgrace. However, since I have been reborn, of course I won't let Noah move in. This powerful network of connections is mine now. Fortunately, at this point in time the house has been renovated, but the ownership transfer hasn't been completed yet. Saved me a lot of trouble. I instructed the bodyguards, break the door open, then go buy a new combination lock to replace it. A few minutes later, I looked over the mansion I had painstakingly decorated and nodded in satisfaction. Entering the master bedroom, I saw an unopened suitcase and several bulging packages beside it. I couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect such a coincidence. It turned out Noah had just moved his luggage in. He hadn't even had time to make the bed when I caught him in the act. I told the bodyguards to pack up all their things and toss them into the hallway. Then he leisurely leaned back on the balcony lounger. While feeling the riverside breeze, he pondered the plot. According to the original storyline, today Noah would find a bargain at the antique market. He bought a counterfeit for $500, then took a genuine master painting out of scroll, which a collector bought for a sky-high $40 million, and he thus earned his first pot of gold. I've been reborn. Of course I won't let him succeed in snagging a bargain. Go to the antique market and secretly follow Noah. If he tries to buy a painting, stop him and bring that painting back. All right. Just as I was about to rest, a call came in. Ethan, you've really grown bold. Huh? I haven't even settled the matter of the ring with you, and you're already causing more trouble. Glory Tower would rather pay the breach penalty than renew the lease. Was it you who did it? Your dad is just an ordinary executive. Doing this not only harms my Taylor family's interests, it also harms Glory Group's. Do you know that's an occupational crime? Come up with a way to make up the losses immediately, and I will forgive you. Otherwise, I'll find a way to contact the chairman of Glory Group, expose this matter, and have your dad thrown in jail. She still couldn't see herself clearly, as always. I sneered and said, the ring was always mine. Kicking the Taylor family out of Glory Building was my doing too. Try to report me if you want. Given how insignificant your Taylor family is, consider yourself lucky if you even get to see the chairman. There was a silence on the other end of the phone. Obviously, she had already tried to make contact, but she couldn't reach anyone at all, so she had no choice but to call me, hoping to achieve her goal by threatening me. Seeing that I was resolute, Sophia's tone, rarely so, softened a bit, but still with an attitude of being way above me. You win. Have your father help the Taylor family one more time. As payment, I'll let you touch my hand. Haven't you been wanting that for ages? Now your wish is granted. Good grief, she clearly came to my house to beg me. And yet she still put on a look like she was doing me a favor. Where's your face? My tone cooled. No need. I'm not interested in the forelimbs of lower animals. After saying that, I hung up. At that moment, the bodyguard had already brought the painting back. I unrolled the scroll, and sure enough, pulled out an ancient painting from inside. Hiding a painting inside a scroll, that's quite novel. Hang both of these on the wall as a memento. Okay, sir. The electronic door lock suddenly emitted a prompt. Sorry, incorrect password, please re-enter. I glanced at the video doorbell and saw that the person standing at the door was Noah. I couldn't help but curl my lips. He became even less of a protagonist because I cut him off from the ancient painting. He looked completely dejected. I couldn't help but snort. I went back to the sofa and continued playing games, too lazy to get up and deal with him. It wasn't until 20 minutes later that the door lock chimed again. Sorry, incorrect password. Please try again. This time, Sophia appeared outside the door as well. She was looking at the lock with a puzzled expression. That's not right. The password is definitely correct. Why won't it open? Then she turned to Noah and said, why don't we just pick the lock? Seeing that I still hadn't opened the door, those two were about to force the lock. I couldn't hold back anymore and pushed the door open. Do you even have any sense of the law? Picking locks and breaking in. Do you know that's a crime? Sophia didn't expect me to appear here, especially dressed in pajamas. She questioned me with a sullen look on her face. Ethan, I still haven't settled scores with you over driving the Taylors out of the Glory building. Who gave you permission to come in? Didn't I tell you this place doesn't welcome you? Don't you have any sense of boundaries? Do I need your approval to live in a house I bought myself? Sophia looked at me with disdain. So what if you bought it? You still need my consent to move in, right? Hurry up and move out, and clean up your trash while you're at it. Noah is moving in today. He isn't used to there being other men here. I was momentarily speechless because of her. She wouldn't be thinking that I want to live with that pair of lovers, would she? What is she thinking? Noah also looked at Sophia with a face of agreement. I'm indeed not used to living with other guys. You know me best. Of course he's not used to it. That's just how protagonists are. When Noah goes out, he won't tolerate any male mosquitoes nearby. Naturally, I never intended to live with that pair of scoundrels. This house was bought by me, and my name is on the title, so of course I live here myself. So please get lost. Sophia looked at me in disbelief. Does it matter who bought the house? Besides, you already gave it to me. Letting someone move in is entirely my choice. What right do you have to interfere? As a man, can't you show a little gentlemanly behavior? I don't have the patience to keep arguing with them. Cut the crap and get out of here. If you trespass on someone's home again, I'll call the police. Noah is a true genius. He'll definitely soar one day. If it's real, then move out and let him live here. When he becomes successful, he'll naturally remember your kindness. It would be fine if she didn't bring that up, but whenever she did, my chest would ache. In my last life, he stepped all over my family and really shot up to the top. But later, he not only cheated on me, he also ended my life with a single flying needle. I said coldly, "Get out," I said as I turned back into the room, deliberately showing the painting I had just hung. Noah glanced over and his eyes reddened. This is the painting I set my sights on today. Did you have someone cut me off? Isn't that obvious? Otherwise, where would all these coincidences come from? I pretended to be surprised and asked, so you're the one who couldn't come up with $2,000. After I repeatedly cut him off and now insulted him like this, Noah's protagonist aura was once again weakened. He couldn't bear it any longer, turned around, and let out a furious roar. Enough. What belongs to me? I'll take back all of it sooner or later. What belongs to you? I frowned, studying him. The ring is an heirloom from my family, the house I bought with my own money, and even the sale of that antique painting went to the highest bidder. How does any of that become something that belongs to you? Noah froze for a moment, then grew red with anger. Putting facts aside, shouldn't these things belong to me? Well, putting facts aside, damn, this destined protagonist is really arrogant. So in your view, if you can't get a bargain, it's just like losing something? Everything should belong to you. A cold glint flashed in Noah's eyes, and his tone carried a faint chill. Mr. Johnson, a piece of advice. Eat something good these days. After all, fortunes change in an instant. Maybe one day you'll catch some strange disease, you never know. The bodyguard was still nearby, and he was threatening me. I couldn't help but curl my lips and instructed the bodyguards. Drag him into the fire escape and give him a beating. If he calls the police, pull the surveillance footage and sue him for breaking into a private residence with intent to steal a precious artifact, a priceless painting worth $40 million US. At those words, Noah's face changed wildly. Using superior numbers to bully the weak, that's not fair. I have already received the inheritance. Even if I fight him one-on-one, I do not fear him. But why bother? I don't want to get my hands dirty. He waved his hand lightly. 4 burly bodyguards surged forward, scooping Noah up like a chick and heading straight for the fire escape. Sophia screamed, trying to stop them, but to no avail. 5 minutes later, Sophia cried as she helped the bruised and battered Noah out of the corridor. Accusez-me. Jealousy really does make people unrecognizable. Just because I refuse to marry you, you hurt Noah so badly. How did you become so vicious? I hope you hurry back to your old self. Stop making the same mistakes. Transfer the house to Noah right away as compensation for his injury, and then I'll forgive you. Noah also nodded in full agreement. Sophia, since you spoke up, as long as he compensates me for the house, I'll give you this face. Unfortunately, blood trickled from his mouth, and his eyes were swollen shut. In this state, he looked inexplicably ridiculous. After all this, he still dares to covet my house. I gave Noah a half-smile, half-sneer glance. My look made him shiver, and he hurriedly pulled Sophia away. After finishing with the house matters, I started my internship at the group company. My dad assigned David, the deputy manager of the marketing department, to follow me and guide me through the business operations. Sir, we've already found interested clients for the 2 vacant floors of office space. Would you like to meet with them? Fine. They walked up to the floor they used to frequent most and unexpectedly ran into 2 familiar faces. It was Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Taylor. At that moment, Mrs. Taylor was strutting proudly as she bossed the movers around. Be careful. Our company bought high-end computers. If you break them, you couldn't afford to pay for them. And that typewriter, go over and give a hand. Wrap the packing box properly before loading it onto the truck. Seeing me approach, Mrs. Taylor glared at me and said nothing. Mr. Taylor, however, spotted manager David standing behind me at once. He narrowed his eyes, his tone carrying a threat. The contract was signed personally by me and the chairman. Is that something you and your son can overturn? Hurry and revoke your decision. Return my family's company, and I won't make a fuss. Otherwise, I'll sue you for a job-related crime on the grounds of infringing Glory Group's interests. He was treating manager David as my executive father, so he launched into a barrage of scolding. Manager David looked at me with a completely puzzled expression. I turned to Mr. Taylor. Do as you please, but if you have time to scare me, you'd be better off taking care of the office supplies more. If you fall on hard times later, you can sell them for a bit of money to eat. Seeing I wasn't buying it, Mr. Taylor could only helplessly soften his tone. If you want to undo your mistake, it's not impossible. Revoke the decision to kick us out and get those breaching clients to come back to me, and I won't report you. He almost made me laugh. He clearly wanted me to help him one more time. And who was he putting on airs for? I couldn't help curling my lips. The words you said may have slipped your mind, but I still remember them. Everything I did was worth only 1 yuan. Saying that, I took out a 1 yuan coin and tossed it in front of him. Keep this 1 yuan. Your family only has a few big clients. If each gives 2 mao, the orders can definitely be renegotiated. I believe in the Taylor family's capabilities. Mr. Taylor didn't expect that even after he'd softened his tone, I still wouldn't forgive him. His face immediately darkened. Just then, Sophia suddenly rushed in. Dad, he's just a playboy. You don't need to pay them any attention. My company is about to go public. By then, our Taylor family will naturally rise again. They won't be worthy of reaching for us." Mr. Taylor was momentarily stunned. "Company going public? You mean for real?" "Of course it's real. Even if you don't believe me, you should at least trust Professor Ava Clark's team from Metropolis Medical University. Her team's research ability is strong. Their competence is beyond doubt. I've already informed the media in advance. There will be a press conference in a week." As she spoke, she glanced at me with a knowing look. They even set the date for the product launch? Afraid that the embarrassment wouldn't be big enough? Huh. After all, people should at least have the right to dream. It would be immoral for me to wake her up at this time. Mr. Taylor fancied he had backing. He looked at manager David with an unfriendly expression. "I'm not renewing the office lease. When my daughter's company goes public, I'll have her have a good talk with the chairman about your unauthorized termination of the lease. If you know what's sensible, find a way to get the Taylor family's order back. After all, businessmen only care about profit. Why sulk over trivial matters? Think it over carefully. I'll wait for your reply." Manager David. Not interested in watching the Taylor family move anymore. I turned and followed Manager David to inspect other floors. Of course, as an intern. After that, I got in touch with Professor Ava Clark's team. I handed them the formula for the youth-preserving pill, and my dad stepped in to negotiate with the university administration to rent the lab equipment. After procuring a batch of rare medicinal ingredients needed for the experiments, the research project began to get on track, and I started shuttling between the university and the corporation, so busy I could barely keep up. She was always either with Manager David, getting familiar with company projects, or discussing traditional herbal medicine processing with Professor Ava Clark. She simply had no time to pay attention to Noah and Sophia. The next time she saw the two of them was on the graduation outing. On the coach, Noah and Sophia sat together. The two of them looked very well matched. Unlike in his previous life, Noah's protagonist halo had been diminished, and there were fewer beauties surrounding him. Instead, some people privately discussed Noah's character. They said his values were warped. I couldn't help but curl the corner of my mouth. Today's journey was destined to be anything but peaceful. Because according to the plot, today Noah would accidentally be bitten by a strange serpent and be poisoned by an emotion toxin. And Sophia would refuse the doctor's treatment and personally use her body to detoxify him. And the two would finally end up together. I recalled the inheritance in the ring. As far as I know, every type of love poison that can infect a person has very high research value. If I could really encounter one, I absolutely couldn't miss the chance. For that reason, I specifically arranged people in advance. Soon, we arrived at our destination. Noah and Sophia had gone off somewhere unknown. I didn't pay attention either. After all, there were professionals accompanying them. Soon, Noah returned. Sophia followed him inseparably. Not far from them stood the teacher leading the trip, who also served part-time as the director of the emergency department at the affiliated hospital. Student, being bitten by a snake is not a small matter. Noah refused. It's only a bit of venom. I can handle it myself, so I won't trouble the teacher. The team leader froze. What poison are you talking about? How come I've never heard of it? Sophia's face flushed. No serum is needed. I can neutralize the snake venom. Teacher, step aside and don't interfere with me treating him. Saying that, the two of them quickly ran off. I watched them in puzzlement, feeling that something was off. After the outing ended, my face darkened the moment I saw the snake. This was by no means some rare venomous snake. It was just an ordinary cauliflower snake. What do you mean infected with love poison? As if I'm fooled. The whole notion of love poison is pure nonsense. The drone footage is very clear. The two of them found a cave and, like dry wood meeting flame, couldn't wait to start detoxifying. In my past life, my mind was full of Sophia. I never doubted her. She said anything and I believed it, deservedly fooled around in circles. This video will become the sword that destroys the protagonist's halo. The day after the outing, Sophia was blocked at her front door by reporters from every media outlet. May we ask if there's anything you can reveal about your company's newly developed product? Sophia wore a triumphant, self-satisfied expression. There's nothing I can disclose for now. Please be patient. Everything will be made clear shortly. Saying that, she even made a point of dissing me. Here, I want to say something to certain people. Sophia, I've gotten to where I am entirely on my own. The kind I look down on most are those idle rich boys who only throw money at women. I watched all this through the live stream and couldn't help but sneer. She looked down on me for using money to win people over, yet she never once refused a single gift I sent. On the contrary, when I tried to get the gift back, she turned on me. With that, what right does she have to act morally superior in front of the camera? I dialed Professor Ava Clark's number. Are you ready? Don't worry, Mr. Johnson. Everything has been arranged exactly as you instructed. 20 minutes passed quickly, the scene at the self-media interviews. Suddenly, someone began shouting. Professor Ava Clark from Metropolis Medical University issued a statement on behalf of the team, saying their collaborative partner was never Sophia's company, but a person named Ethan. She also said they never actually collaborated with Sophia's company at any time, and the so-called research project was non-existent. Such big gossip? Let me take a look. Is Ms. Taylor's company still publicly listed? A shell company with no products. How could it be listed? The scene immediately erupted. In a live stream, Sophia's previously indifferent expression vanished. She took out her phone and started searching. Soon, her face went deathly pale. She frantically dialed the phone, but sadly, there was no answer on the other end. Sophia looked bereft, as if mourning a parent, but had to deal with the media. Sorry, I have nothing to say about the product launch or the company's listing. Please pay attention to the company's subsequent announcements. After speaking, she returned to the villa's courtyard and closed the gate. Only the reporters at the scene were left looking at one another. Sophia's research project had fallen through. Unable to keep feeding shareholders empty promises, the bank soon came calling for repayment. The Taylor family's company had already gone bankrupt. Now Sophia's firm not only had no hope of going public, but was also deeply in debt to the bank. The already fragile Taylor household was hit with yet another blow. In less than a week, the Taylor family's villa was listed on the foreclosure website. Also, all corporate accounts were frozen, and even the cars were seized by the court. That day, I had just left the lab building when I ran into Noah and Sophia. Noah now looked no different from an ordinary person. In the original plot, the Taylor family had provided quite a bit of financial support to Noah. Taylor's family is now bankrupt, which is a huge blow to Noah. It has almost cut off his hope of rising. At this moment, the two of them are looking at me with hatred. Did you do this or not? You didn't just destroy the Taylor family. You also ruined Sophia's company. That was the result of her own hard work. What right do you have to destroy her labor? Go to Professor Ava Clark right now and explain the situation. Have her hand over the research results, or you'll regret it. Even now, the two of them still can't see themselves clearly. The result of Sophia's hard work? Without me, she's nothing. And now she's threatening me? I couldn't be bothered with those two big idiots either, so I turned and left. That day my phone pushed a trending video to me. The entrepreneurial genius was abandoned by her boyfriend, and his retaliatory actions led to the company's bankruptcy. It was posted by Sophia. In the video, Sophia looked fragile and innocent, wiping tears toward the camera. I built the company through my own efforts. We were about to go public, and I couldn't wait to share the joy with my boyfriend, but I unexpectedly caught him cheating with Professor Ava Clark from my company's research team. They conspired to ruin my company just so they could monopolize the research results. Wah, wah, wah. In front of the camera, Sophia looked like she had just cried, drawing plenty of sympathy from netizens. Everyone denounced them one after another. They also demanded to know who Sophia's scumbag boyfriend was. Sophia looked troubled. I can't expose other people's privacy casually. There's not much I can say. What I can tell everyone is that his surname is Johnson and his father is an executive at Glory Group. Manager David happens to have a son studying abroad. He is about my age, and and the outside world doesn't know his information. So he innocently took the fall. From a diligent, hard-working employee, he suddenly turned into a playboy father. The netizens' doxing efficiency was high. The only flaw was that they were mistaken. My dad has always been low-key and never discloses information about his children. Unexpectedly, this moment sparked a misunderstanding among the netizens. I posted the video from the outing without hesitation. The sensitive parts were censored. The video immediately trended. Netizens all felt deceived. Their reputations kept getting worse and worse. Noah had to come out and clear things up. "You got it all wrong. Back then, I was bitten by a snake and poisoned by an aphrodisiac. Sophia had to sleep with me to detoxify me." An aphrodisiac? Netizens instantly erupted. In the previous life, their affair was exposed, and Noah had been right about the infatuation poison. At the time, some people had questioned Noah's claim, but because of the protagonist's halo, most chose to believe it. Even those who didn't believe ultimately opted to ignore it. But this time it was different. The protagonist's halo around Noah had already dimmed severely. Talking recklessly in this situation, isn't that courting death? Sure enough, before I had even spoken, netizens began to question it. "Sorry, I've checked many professional books and couldn't find any record of such a poison. May I ask which novel your inspiration comes from? Could you share with me?" My friend said he wants to read it. What I didn't expect. At the crucial moment, Professor Ava Clark stepped forward. She posted a video. Netizens are very concerned about whether love toxin exists. I can responsibly say that I don't know about ancient times, but among all species known to humanity, no so-called love toxin has ever been found. The authoritative experts have all come forward to speak. The online public opinion began to tilt overwhelmingly, completely siding with me. While public attention was at its peak, I released a video. It was precisely the footage from the drone showing Noah being bitten by a snake. The high-definition camera zoomed in, and everyone could clearly see that it was nothing more than an ordinary colibrid. The incident itself was already attracting a lot of attention. Now the online public opinion exploded. Holy shit, this cauliflower snake is thicker than my little finger. Good thing Sophia sacrificed herself to detoxify in time. If she'd been a few minutes later, Noah's wound would have already healed. What do you guys know? This is an ancient mutant. Isn't it normal to be infected with lust poison after being bitten? The person upstairs is right. I just bought an ancient mutant online yesterday as a pet. Can't talk now. My boyfriend just got bitten by an ancient mutant. I'm going to detoxify him. See you if fate allows. The netizens were rolling with laughter. The bite of an ancient mutant will inflict a mind poison became a meme, and in just 2 days it spread across the entire internet. Noah also became a household name. His reputation was completely ruined. That day, I suddenly heard the sound of shattering coming from the void. At this moment, I knew Noah's protagonist aura had shattered. Because I was in a good mood, I drank a little red wine. In my daze, I was startled awake by the phone ringing. I picked up the phone and saw it was Professor Ava Clark calling. "Come to the school quickly. The laboratory has been breached." I hung up and hurried anxiously to the school. By the time I arrived at the scene, the police had found a silver needle beneath the damaged camera. Noah, I was already absolutely certain in my heart. He knew there were valuable research results in the lab, so it was only natural he'd set his sights on them. The police initially judged it to be someone the victim knew. I was listed as a prime suspect, just when I thought the camera at my doorstep could provide proof for me. An unexpected turn. The camera at the front door had actually been damaged several days ago. This was a premeditated frame-up, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I was taken away by the police to assist with the investigation. Soon, the police told me someone wanted to see me, and I agreed. Noah and Sophia. That couple, glaring at me with looks full of resentment. Do you regret it now? When you ruined the Taylor family and destroyed my company, you should have expected this day. This time, the opponent I chose for you is Glory Group. The research results in that lab belongs to Glory Group. They won't let you off. And you're just the son of an ordinary senior executive. This time I want to see how you can turn things around. This fate is your retribution. These two scumbags actually tried to use the power of Glory Group to crush me. I have to say, they've really stepped on a steel plate this time. I'm the heir to Glory Group. That research result in the lab was originally mine. Do I need to steal it? I didn't say anything, I just stared at them coldly. They even started showing off their affection in front of me. At that moment, a middle-aged man who looked like a supervisor walked into the reception room. "I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. This was just a misunderstanding. I apologize for my subordinate's recklessness. The formalities have been completed. You may leave at any time. We will continue to follow up on the truth of the matter and expect results soon." Noah stood up. "Are you sure you aren't mistaken? He's a suspect. How can you just let him go like that?" Sophia also complained unwillingly. "Is this your way of handling a case? Carelessly letting bad people go and causing a bad impact. Can you take responsibility for that?" I couldn't help but curl my lips. I hadn't finished speaking when the middle-aged leader frowned and scolded. "Mr. Johnson is the heir of Glory Group. Don't talk about the research results from that lab. The entire Glory Group will belong to him in the future. What motive would he have to steal his own property?" "What?" Noah and Sophia were both stunned. Their expressions cracked inch by inch, quickly turning into miserable, tearful faces. No tears left to shed. They never imagined that the person they had schemed to trap. They had thought he was just the son of an ordinary executive, only to discover in the end that my true identity was something they could never reach. The heir of Glory Group. Just a moment ago they were still mocking me, saying I had offended Glory Group. In less than 10 minutes, the person I had offended at Glory Group had become both of them. They thought their actions were meticulous, but if you investigate carefully, the truth will come out sooner or later. Why did you hide your identity and date me? How could your intentions be so malicious? Sophia glared at me in anger. Noah's face was as black as a pot bottom. He turned, grabbed Sophia, and left. Having offended Glory Group, they wanted to flee immediately. But they were doomed to fail. The police soon figured everything out. Noah was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison for stealing major scientific research results. Sophia was also convicted as an accomplice and sentenced to 1 year in prison. 2 years later, I inherited Glory Group and became its helm. The research results of the youth-preserving pill had already been widely applied. Glory Group leapt to become a world-class enterprise. I'm also working with Professor Ava Clark's team to develop other inherited formulations. That day, someone from my people sent me a message. Sophia has also gone crazy and was released early. Now she often rummages through trash bins for food. Noah has escaped from prison and is currently wanted. What a troublesome time. I sighed and put down my phone. I didn't pay it much mind. After all, Noah's protagonist aura has been shattered. He's just an ordinary person now. He still can't pose a threat to me. At that moment, the phone rang. It was the book's second female lead, Emma Anderson. Ever since I cured her paralysis. In the past 2 years, she has often liked to visit my home. Sometimes, using the excuse that it was too late, she'd stay overnight in the guest room. I smiled and got up to open the door for her. Emma was a little different today. She had been drinking, and her pretty face was full of languor, adding a lot of allure. I invited her to have a late-night snack, but she ignored me and instead mustered the courage to come up to the cage. Not only that, she reached her hand into the cage and directly grabbed some food to feed that cauliflower snake the size of a little finger. "Be careful." I couldn't help warning her, but it was too late. Emma pulled her hand out with a mournful face, pouting, looking utterly pitiful. I was bitten by an ancient exotic snake, poisoned by love toxin. Young hero, save me. Me. I could clearly see what was on Emma's mind. Today she was even braver from the alcohol, and she was no longer hinting. She was clearly trying to take the relationship to the next level. However, the tragic experiences of my previous life left a knot in my heart I couldn't untie. Although she and the Anderson family never directly targeted me. But my family fell from power, and her family's influence also played a role. I couldn't let it go easily. Coming to my senses, Emma was looking at me with slightly reddened eyes. If you don't save me soon, the wound is going to heal. I lifted the glass of red wine and drank it in one gulp. I'll disinfect you. You don't need a serum injection. Emma froze for a moment, huge tears falling. She covered her face and ran away. Before leaving, she left one sentence. I never want to see you again. I steeled my heart and did not chase after her. Watching this woman who had stood against me in my past life leave in sorrow, I felt inexplicably irritable. Damn, I muttered under my breath and poured another glass of red wine. Because she'd been rejecting me, Emma had been avoiding me all these days. Suddenly, there was one less person coming over for meals and staying the night, and I inexplicably felt an emptiness in my heart. I could only throw myself into work. That day, dragging my tired body home, I found someone new standing at the door. A raggedly dressed woman, emitting an unpleasant smell, stood there dazedly, looking somewhat mentally unwell. It was Sophia, who had been released early. At the moment she saw me, a brief clarity flashed in Sophia's eyes. Ethan, if I told you that the past me was like someone in a dream, in that dream I had no control over my body and my thoughts were being controlled, and now the dream is finally ended, would you believe me? Because the protagonist halo has shattered, has the heroine finally become a normal person? I studied Sophia carefully. At this moment, the obsessive look she always had was gone. She looked like an entirely normal girl. You treated me so well, and I ignored it, but that bastard Noah. Just one look from him, and I treated him like a treasure. The thought that I ever makes me so sick I could vomit. The remorse and pain in her eyes did not seem feigned. I believe what you say. This is the world of a book. Nothing in it makes any sense. I naturally understood what the female lead said. As a subordinate of the protagonist, she was also not in control of her own fate. Hearing me say that, Sophia's eyes lit up. Her tone was full of hope. Then, Ethan, can you still accept me? Acceptance was, of course, impossible, although I understood her. Unfortunately, that alone is not a reason for me to forgive her. The harm she caused me in her past and this life are not so easily forgotten. I looked at Sophia with a half-smile. What do you think? Sophia's expression froze, and the light in her eyes dimmed. You know I have no choice. Don't drive me away. I'm begging you. She quickly sank to her knees, pleading for my forgiveness. Unfortunately, I wouldn't show the slightest mercy. I held my nose in disgust. Get on your knees and beg me to move somewhere else. You reek of garbage. Don't dirty my building's stairwell. Sophia looked at me in disbelief. At that moment, she finally noticed how disheveled she looked and, mortified, turned and ran away. I noticed that the instant she turned, the clarity in her eyes vanished. After briefly regaining her clarity, the heroine went mad again. I couldn't help but shake my head. Perhaps for her, it was a form of escape. The next time I saw her, she was in the neighborhood snatching food from a stray cat. Sir, shall we drive her away? Never mind. She's just a bereft dog. She won't make any big waves. I stopped paying attention to Sophia. I thought she would remain this clueless forever. I didn't expect it, but an accident still happened. That day, I ran into an unexpected person when I returned to the neighborhood. Noah. Didn't he escape from prison? He actually showed up in my neighborhood openly. What does he think he's doing? Isn't he afraid of being caught by the police? By the apartment trash pile? Noah was looking at Sophia with a heartbroken expression. Sophia, I'm Noah. Why don't you remember me? Unfortunately, Sophia just stared at him idiotically, drooling. Don't be afraid. I'll definitely cure you. Saying that, Noah pulled out a silver needle and pierced Sophia's head. It has to be said that Noah's original acupuncture skills were pretty good. A few minutes later, Sophia regained consciousness. Noah, why are you still haunting me? Get away. Who allowed you to come near me? Do you know how badly you ruined me? If it weren't for your appearance, Ethan would never have left me. I wouldn't have fallen from being a favored daughter to becoming a mad woman. Noah was stunned for a moment, frowning as he asked, Sophia, what happened to you? Weren't you the one who looked down on Ethan the most, calling him a playboy? Sophia looked at him with a face full of resentment. Ethan loved me so much back then. He might as well have given me his heart. It's a pity everything was lost later. It's you, all because of you. The protagonist has always been self-important and naturally never believes they're wrong. Faced with Sophia's accusation, Noah only paused for a moment before beginning to lecture. I really misjudged you. You never cared about material things before. I gave you a straw-woven ring, and you could be happy all day. Now you're all about money, and you even have your sights on that playboy Ethan. I'm so disappointed. I couldn't help but snort. What does that have to do with caring about material things? The previous female lead was completely blinded by the protagonist's halo. Now she's awake and can finally see everything. Okay? Too bad Noah can't see that. He thought it was all because of his own charm. Sophia should be truly in love with him. Noah stood up with his hands behind his back, deliberately striking a handsome pose. Have you forgotten our vows by the sea and under the mountains? And when I was bitten by the ancient serpent, you risked your life to save me. Have you thrown all your love for me out of your mind? It would have been fine if he hadn't brought that up. Sophia looked ashamed and indignant, snapped her arm away, and gave him a hard slap. You are shameless. Noah was stunned by the blow. He looked at Sophia in disbelief. You were always mine. Why are you treating me like this? Unfortunately, the plot constraints have vanished. So Sophia naturally could no longer be brainwashed by him. Get lost. Noah could not accept the heroine's betrayal. He collapsed, questioning. It's all because of that playboy Ethan, right? I knew it. Ever since I met him, everything changed. He stole my ring and the ancient painting, not to mention my house. Now he even wants to take my woman. Me. At that moment, Noah finally noticed me. In an instant, he pulled out a dagger and charged over with bloodshot eyes. You've taken everything from me. Go die. Everything happened so fast that I couldn't react at all. At the critical moment, a frail figure rushed over and took the dagger from me. Emma? I only had time to be stunned for a moment. SSHK. Blood spurted out as Emma clutched her stomach and fell. Taking advantage of the moment, I pulled out a silver needle and threw it. Noah fell at once. Only then did I come to my senses and hastily caught Emma. How could you be so stupid when I was so cold to you? Emma's face was pale as she spoke weakly. I'm afraid I won't make it. Before I die, could you please not refuse me? Saying that, her blood-covered hand reached toward my face, staring at me dazedly. In that moment, I only felt my heart torn apart. I had been so caught up in grudges from my past life that I actually refused such a good girl. I really shouldn't have. She would give her life for me. What other lingering worries could I possibly not let go of? I took her hand and wiped away a tear. Don't worry. I will definitely bring you back. I quickly gave Emma a few stitches to seal the acupoints, and her bleeding stopped soon. While waiting for the ambulance, I took the opportunity to call the police. The escaped convict Noah is injuring people in the neighborhood. I've already subdued him. When a wanted criminal attacks, the police respond quickly. Within minutes, they arrived at the complex. Noah was still shouting at me when he was taken away. Ethan, you are so despicable. You took everything from me. Just wait. I will never let you off. Unfortunately for him, what met his words were heavy shackles. The operating room lights went out, and the doctor walked out with an unperturbed expression. Thanks to your hemorrhage control, the patient is out of danger. I breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that she's okay. A few days later, Emma was discharged. I brought her my home to take care of her, making nutritious meals for her every day. She recovered completely before long. That day, Emma drank another large glass of red wine, looking at me with bleary eyes and glancing from time to time at the cage where the pet snake was kept. I gave 2 awkward laughs. That's really unnecessary, isn't it? A bite would hurt quite a bit. Emma stubbornly pouted and still wouldn't speak. There was no choice. I braved it and stuck my hand into the cage, and before long, I was bitten by a cauliflower snake. I am poisoned. The words had barely left my mouth when Emma quickly kissed me. Young hero, don't panic. I'll detoxify you. 6 months later, Emma and I held a grand wedding. The two families joined forces, creating a result greater than the sum of its parts. Our business layout was completed, and both sides advanced to a higher level. After we married, we soon had an adorable daughter. One day, when we were free, Emma and I took our daughter to the amusement park. Someone under me gave me a call. Noah suffered a sudden heart attack and died while doing labor in prison. This self-righteous protagonist was finally dead. At that moment, I felt as if the sky had brightened considerably. Emma looked at me strangely. "Why do I feel like you've suddenly become different?" I smiled and asked her, "Do you believe there are protagonists in this world?" Emma closed her eyes to feel it for a moment. "I used to think that, but not anymore. Each of us is the protagonist of our own life." I was stunned for a moment, then let out a mute laugh. "You're right. Protagonists like that shouldn't exist in the first place. They should always be like this. Each of us is the protagonist of our own story." At that moment, my daughter climbed up the slide and accidentally fell. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman rushed over from the side and caught her. Such a small child, and no one watching her properly. Parents these days are just too careless. Hearing the familiar voice, I froze. "Sophia?" In the cafe, I looked at Sophia with surprise at her restrained expression. "What are you doing right now?" After her account, I quickly understood her recent situation. When the Taylor family went bankrupt, Mrs. Taylor couldn't stand the fall in status and climbed onto the overpass and jumped. Mr. Taylor was kidnapped by people he owed money to, taken to Southeast Asia, and never came back. After Sophia was cured by Noah, she found an infant girl while wandering the streets. She raised her by begging. Later, with help from kind sponsors, she opened an orphanage dedicated to caring for abandoned children. As she recounted all this, her eyes shone. Emma urged me to donate some money to her. I ignored her. After parting with Sophia, one of my subordinates called me. We checked it out. She did set up an orphanage and took in over a dozen children. It's currently operating at a loss. Whenever she has time, she goes out to pick through trash. Only then did I remember. When Sophia supported my daughter, there were a few plastic bottles placed beside her. At this moment, I felt a sense of relief. Perhaps this is the heroine's true appearance? Have the charity foundation under our umbrella allocate funds to build her a larger orphanage? Yes, sir. My name is Noah Williams. From the day I was born, I knew I was different from others. No matter what I did, success came easily. Whatever I wanted, I never had to strive for. It would naturally be delivered into my hands. Even the women I liked didn't need to be chased. One look from me, and they would throw themselves into my arms. I have a feeling that soon I will accomplish something great. I was admitted to Metropolis Medical University. When I met the campus beauty Sophia, I knew in my heart that she would bring a huge change to my life. One day, a ring appeared on Sophia's hand. I knew clearly in my heart that it was very important to me. For what I knew of her, as long as I asked, Sophia would surely give me the ring. Unfortunately, at that moment, Ethan appeared. He was a playboy, the kind of person I despised most, someone with no real ability. I didn't expect him to actually want to take the ring back. At that moment, I admit I panicked. My gentle persuasion was useless. Ethan still insisted on taking the ring back. With no other choice, I tried to trade for it with a favor. Because my method never failed, when I asked someone for a favor, I never had to give anything. I only needed to say I owe you a favor, and the other person would know they had the advantage. However, I miscalculated. Even if I was willing to offer 2 favors, Ethan still refused to give up the ring. In the end, he even called the police. The police didn't care about any favors I had. They took me to the squad car to take my statement. When I saw that ring again, it no longer drew me in. In that moment, I knew I had lost something important, and my heart fell hollow. Life had to go on. This time, following the pull of my instinct, I went to the antique street. I set my sights on a counterfeit painting, but the weight of the scroll fell off. My intuition told me I had to buy it. Otherwise, I would definitely regret it. Unfortunately, a man who looked like a bodyguard was trying to compete with me for it. I didn't have enough money. He bought the painting. A sense of loss filled me. Another very important thing gone. I went back to the apartment Sophia had lent me, but I was furious to discover Ethan living there. This house is very nice. Living here will bring good things. It's fine for Ethan to be here too. As long as he's driven away, everything we've lost will come back. Unfortunately, I miscalculated. Even after I paid the price of 2 favors, Ethan still looked down on me. He was completely different from the others. My favors meant nothing to him. I really have no eye for people. Not only that, I also discovered that the painting I hadn't managed to buy was actually in his hands. My suspicion was correct after all. There really was more to the scroll than met the eye. A windfall worth tens of millions of dollars was snatched away by Ethan. At that moment, I was furious beyond words. Unfortunately, no matter how angry I got, it was useless. Instead, I was beaten up by the bodyguards. But it's fine. I won't be knocked down so easily. Sophia treated me very well, and uncle and aunt also valued me highly. As long as the Taylor family didn't fall, I would eventually turn things around. I didn't expect. Ethan, why won't he go away? He ruined the Taylor family and could no longer provide any help to me. I took a bold risk and teamed up with Sophia to steal from the laboratory and framed Ethan. I thought Glory Group would come after Ethan. Unexpectedly, Ethan turned out to be the heir apparent of Glory Group. In that moment, I felt like the sky had fallen. The police solved the case quickly, and I was sentenced. But whenever I thought of Ethan still out there living freely and happily, I felt like dying. Everything of mine was taken from me by him. Who did he think he was? So I escaped from prison. Reality struck me again. Sophia no longer loved me. I had already lost everything. Having lost Sophia's love, I had nothing left. All of this was Ethan's fault. I pulled out a dagger and lunged at him, but I stabbed a frail woman instead. In some inscrutable way, I felt that she was very important to me. Unfortunately, she stood in front of the enemy. At that moment, my heart went cold. When Ethan's dart was thrown, I gave up trying to dodge. Sent to prison for the second time, used to harsher conditions. This time I had no chance to escape again. I have to do heavy physical labor every day. My life is full of despair. At that moment, I heard a phantom voice. The voice told me that I was originally the protagonist of this world, destined by nature to accomplish great things. Unfortunately, in the end, it was ruined by a villain. Villain? Who could that be? It should be Ethan, I suppose. After all, ever since he showed up, he's taken away all the good things I had. Noah, time for work. The supervisor is calling me. Another day of heavy physical labor began. I felt exhausted in both body and mind. I didn't want to live for even another moment. After all, my original life was not supposed to be like this. A sharp pain suddenly struck my heart. A feeling of impending death washed over me. As a medical student, I knew it was a myocardial infarction. The attendants were nearby. If I cried for help, I'd be rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. I didn't cry out. I simply clamped my mouth shut with both hands. Slowly, my consciousness began to slip away. My life came to an end.